Coworkers are people that you work with at your job. This you already know. But there are lingering questions about your coworkers that you feel may never be answered. Like, for example, how does a 32-year-old consume $3 frozen fettuccine for lunch every day that he microwaves in like a plastic container? Pick up a pan and cook something for once in your fucking life. But more importantly, why does it seem like all your coworkers have only ever seen 5 movies? Coworker aura. The first coworker that comes to mind for me really is Kyle. It's that job that you had during high school, or maybe after high school, after college. You're living at home, maybe you moved back home, and you don't quite have a real job yet, so you work at a Value Village, some dead-end minimum wage job. And Kyle is 22 years old, and he already has 3 DUIs. So his mom drives him to work. And Kyle's favorite movie is Deadpool, right? Kyle loves Deadpool. And you might think that, okay, Deadpool, that's going to take the first spot on this list. But the more I thought about it, really the first spot has to just go to Ryan Reynolds right off the bat. Ryan Reynolds, you can't stop this guy, okay? And he doesn't want to be stopped. Like, let's just take a look at the record here. Deadpool 1, okay? Deadpool 2, Deadpool, Wolverine, Detective Pikachu, whoa. Huge.
Free Guy, Red Notice, Spirited, If.
When it comes to coworker movies, Ryan Reynolds is the GOAT. And honestly, the moment I realized this, I thought, this is just a video. I'll just talk about Ryan Reynolds movies for the next 10 minutes. But then I realized that all these movies are so ass, and that I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk about these movies at all, which was the problem when Kyle, would come to me and he would say, Detective Pikachu was the best possible Pokemon movie we could have gotten. And the only reason that you're not really disagreeing with him is because one time at work, the smallest thing went wrong with a customer that came into the store, and you saw Kyle smash a display case and scream and then storm upstairs into the break room. And the manager had to come and calm him down, weirdly gave him a back rub. And so you just don't feel comfortable disagreeing with Kyle. Moving on in the list, I want to introduce you to another coworker. This is Brandon. Now, Brandon is the coworker you met at the job after the job with Kyle. You really pushed yourself, you polished up your resume, and you got a new job. You're proud of yourself because it's your first 9-to-5 job. It's really your first exposure to incompetent corporate, bureaucracy. Brandon, just to kind of paint you a picture here, Brandon's the type of guy that you could say literally anything, and he'll be halfway across the fucking room, halfway across the fucking office, and you'll just hear him yell "Hey yo, pause!" And he's fucking waddling across the room. He's like, "Hey yo, that was sus as fuck." Everything you do to him is just gay, to the point where it's everything is gay. It's dude, maybe you're gay. You know what I mean? It's you are gay, okay? So Brandon's favorite movie is Bullet Train. And even going beyond that, I don't even know if Brandon has seen Bullet Train, or if he just has seen a bunch of TikTok clips of it, and so he just yo, that's a movie that I think is supposed to be one of the sick ones, and so I'm gonna say Bullet Train.
I'll call the conductor. Eat a bag of dicks, lady.
Now, this in and of itself is already pretty bad, but by far the worst character trait that Brandon has nothing to do with movies, actually. Brandon's worst coworker trait is that he is a Drake Glazer. It doesn't matter what the fuck you're talking about, he's gonna find a way to say
Kendrick's not all that.
Dude, just let it go. It's okay. You're gay, and this is a same. All right, so the next coworker that I think is really important to include in this list is Cassandra. Now, Cassandra is a barista.
Scott Pilgrim! What did you do with my sister?
And you might be thinking, barista, you were just working a 9-to-5 job, what happened? So for the time being, you're a barista. You're making ends meet, and it's fine. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's really fulfilling again at first because it feels a little bit more grounded, a little more working class, but it's among people that you seem to almost like. I mean, they seem cool, they're hip, they're young. Cassandra, for example, she's talking to you about movies like, Kieslowski's, like, the Three Colors trilogy, or like Hellraiser. Now, I caution you, be very careful about your next move, because the initial allure of the aesthetic barista job is very misleading. Cassandra represents actually a very old archetype, and this goes back even beyond coworker archetypes. This is the type of thing that Carl Jung might have written about, something that emerges deep from our collective unconscious, and I like to call it the mentally ill stoner loser barista archetype. Now, this is not to say that all baristas are mentally ill or stoners or losers, but if you are so unfortunate, you will at one point in your life become friends with or even date the mentally ill stoner loser barista archetype. And what will give away this person most immediately is when they reveal to you that their favorite movie of the past few years was Don't Worry, Darling. Either that or Saltburn. But really, they'll say some shit like Don't Worry, Darling, and how they thought it was a really interesting critique of patriarchal and capitalistic systems. Cassandra grew up with at least 2 SUVs in the driveway. Both her parents have like high 6-digit incomes. This is the type of person who's actually secretly living off of their savings accounts and is like definitely not picking enough shifts to cover their bills. This is the type of girl that's posting to her story like once or twice a week. One of those like aesthetic little Instagram grid posts that's like a doe, like a baby deer or something in like a field of flowers and like some cool font, and it says some shit like one day you're gonna heal. What the fuck is she trying to heal from? Like, her parents aren't divorced, nothing. This is the most boring person you've ever met in your life. Like, what are you healing from? The fact that your dad drove you around in a hybrid when you were 7? What the fuck are you healing from? And again, folks, these are all hypotheticals. Okay, so I want to introduce you to the next coworker, Greg. You've now somehow transitioned to another 9-to-5 corporate job despite your efforts to get back into a creative field or something, but let's be honest, it's hard. So you're working some remote job, but remote's nice, right? You never worked remote before. It's a tech job. It's like a data analysis job. You have no experience doing that. You have no idea how you got this job, but it's remote, the salary's decent, and you work with people like Greg. Greg's fine. Greg's nice enough. You never met him in person. You don't really have to be subjected to bad taste because you're not working next to him. He's not going to ramble off and yap about, Bullet Train or Deadpool. And so he's mostly watching streaming slop, but every so often at the end of a Zoom meeting, he'll get on his webcam and he'll pose a question to the room. He'll ask a question like, has anyone here seen The Whale? Now, as your lawyer, I'm advising you that you do not need to answer this question. In fact, I'll go even further. I don't believe anyone has seen The Whale. The Whale is not a real movie. They never set up the cameras. They never set up the lights. There was only this picture of Brendan Fraser. You might be saying, LaRue, I don't I don't get this joke. I don't get this bit. Like what? Like there is no movie called The Whale. Hey, listen, stop. This is not a YouTube video. I need you to wake up. There is no movie called The Whale. You think Greg is real? Greg is not real. This job isn't real. The spreadsheets aren't real. You're not actually doing anything. This is not funny. This part of the video is not funny. I'm not having fun anymore. Your job doesn't exist. The Whale doesn't exist. You don't have to watch The Whale. You don't have to do anything. Stop taking your medication. If you have schizophrenia, no, you don't. Wake up.